Many people agree that the past should be forgotten, and we should focus on the present and the future. However, it's easier said than done. Some traumatic and hurtful situations are not easy to let go because of their unprecedented nature. Many times we think about what could have been, and hot tears just roll down the cheek. Sometimes it can be because of the loss of a significant other. You've been looking forward to building a future together with the person. She was the woman of your dreams. You have been waiting to have someone like her in your life. Eventually, you found her, and you were already planning forever with her. Then, out of nowhere, she was involved in this ghastly accident that took her away from you. Now you are wondering how life could have been so cruel. You feel unlucky and depressed. The depression and dejection have made it hard for you to give any other person a chance to win your heart. Indeed, a story such as this is tragic. If it were a Hollywood movie, you could have been shedding tears by now. We all have things like this in our life. Of course, the intensity and situation are not the same. Nonetheless, we all need healing. We all need to let go of the past and focus on the present while looking forward to the future. This video course will equip you with the tools you need on this new journey. In this video, we'll discover about the past. It's gone forever. In the words of Chuck Palahniuk, your past is just a story, and once you realize this, it has no power over you. These words were spoken some years ago. However, they are still as potent and relevant as the first time they were spoken. If only many people realized this simple but extremely powerful truth, life would have been easier for them. We would have had more individuals that are less cranky and frustrated in the world. Some people struggle to overcome their past demons. For instance, bad experience from their past relationships often hinder them from building robust and happy relationships in the future. They build a mental wall and find it difficult to trust another person or commit into another relationship. Letting past experiences interfere with our future is detrimental to our growth and mental well-being. This chapter will explore some vital things about the past you need to know. Life is a journey. This statement might sound like a cliche, but it's not. You have to realize that life is a journey. In fact, it is an experience we are all having for the first and last time. In other words, no one has been to this world before that is now having another opportunity to live it all over again. Indeed, there are people who are experienced in this world. However, their experiences are all parts of their journey in life. Life is a progressive journey that begins at conception and ends in death. It is like a movie. However, this movie is your story. You are supposed to play the roles of both a director and an actor in this movie. Playing the role of a director implies that you are in charge of your life. You make plans and set goals that give your life a direction and sense of purpose. When you are a director in the story of your life, you will take responsibility for your life. You will not blame others for your predicament. Besides, you will not believe that your success and happiness depends on external factors, including the actions of others. Psychologists refer to this mindset as an internal locus of control. No one will give you the role of a director in your life. You can choose to take it or give it to other factors, including your past. Unfortunately, many people have allowed their past mistakes to dictate their current state. The role of an actor in the story of your life is not optional. You will play that part whether you like it or not. Even your inactions are still part of acting in that position. In summary, everyone is an actor, but not everyone is a director in the movie of their lives. Your journey in life does not end until the day you have your last breath. Therefore, you can choose to make the earlier part of the journey, your past, the summary of your story, or you can choose to rewrite the script. As long as you are still alive, you still have the right and opportunity to edit the script of your story. You can still come out on the other side with pride, regardless of what your past looks like. The past is an experience. Life is an experience that is bitter sometimes and pleasant on some occasions. One of the reasons some people find it difficult to let go of the past and start over is that they don't expect life to be cruel and unpleasant. Well, you have been educated wrongly. Life is like a coin with two sides. There are days when you'll experience so much happiness and have reasons to smile. However, there will also be days when you don't want to talk to anyone because you are sad. We all wish to have things go our way all the time. Nonetheless, life has other plans. For some people, they will have many pleasant events occurring in their lives in the early parts of it, but start experiencing the other side of life in the later period. However, some people have a lot of challenges earlier in life, but have better experiences later. This pattern does not mean that you don't have control over the events that occur in your life. Your actions and inactions are what produce some situations you experience. However, there are events in your life you cannot control. However, you need to see every situation as an experience. In other words, you have to treat the events occurring in your life as a learning curve. There are cases when something bad happens to you because of your mistake. However, there are times it is because of the negligence or wickedness of others. Regardless of the source of your frustration, you must take it as an opportunity to learn something new. When you don't see life as a learning curve, you will keep nagging yourself about your failures and mistakes. You will keep wishing you didn't go to that party or visit that person or made that decision. Indeed, things could have been different. Nevertheless, the deed has been done. So the only way you can make the best out of your life is to keep the lessons of your past but never keep the emotions. In other words, remember why you failed, but stop seeing yourself as a failure because you have had poor performances in the past. If you keep seeing things that way, you will never be able to prepare for future tests. The past cannot be changed. You cannot move on from the past and focus on the present if you don't realize that you cannot change the past. The truth is that it is gone forever. All you can do is to ensure that you make the best out of the present and your future. It is normal that you feel hurt when you made a mistake that cost you a golden opportunity. In the same way, you will also feel bad if you did something that ruined your relationship. However, you need to learn to forgive yourself and realize that you cannot undo what you have done. Besides, who says you cannot get an even better opportunity than the one you missed? Some people make statements like, opportunity comes but once, but it is not true. Life often presents us with better opportunities than the ones we have missed previously. Nonetheless, many people end up missing those chances again because they are not prepared for them. They were not ready because they were still thinking about their past failures. In the same way, it is not true that you cannot find a better lady or man than the one that broke up with you. Moreover, if a person truly loves you, he or she will be willing to overlook your mistakes and stick with you during your low moments. So the fact that that person broke up with you because of your mistakes can be a blessing in disguise in the long run. You might still find a person who will love you and stick with you come rain, come shine. Nonetheless, you will never be able to find such a person when you are still stuck in the past. You will not give better people the opportunity to win your heart again because you're still thinking about your ex. You cannot change the past. It is time to start over. In this video, we'll talk about dangers of getting stuck in the past. When you have refused to start over, you are endangering yourself in various ways. As earlier mentioned, it can make you lose sight of the opportunities around you. This chapter explores what you stand to lose when you're stuck in the past. Depression. According to the World Health Organization, depression is a leading psychological problem affecting millions of people around the world. Note that depression is different from the occasional mood swings we have because of an unpleasant event. Depression is more intense and persistent than that. When you are depressed, you will not want to talk to anyone. You will prefer to stay in your bed rather than go out and have social interactions. At that moment, everything in the world becomes colorless and tasteless to you. Note that depression can become fatal in the long run. It can lead to suicidal ideation. In other words, depression can make you feel like taking your own life. Meanwhile, you should never get to that point. There is nothing worth it in this world that should make you feel that taking your life is the best option. As long as you are still alive, you can still rewrite your story. No one is denying that you were hurt, but you cannot get stuck in the past. The price can be too costly. Guilt. Guilt can become a serious issue when you feel that you could have done things differently. It is that feeling you have when you're at fault. You wish you didn't make the choice that led to the disastrous outcome, and it is weighing down on you. According to Socrates, an unchecked life is not worthwhile. So it is normal that you think about your mistakes and learn from them so that you can be better prepared for future events. However, it is a problem when you cannot let go of the negative emotions you have from that experience. Note that you cannot separate guilt from depression. In other words, when you are feeling bad about yourself because of your past mistakes, you can eventually become depressed. Remember that depression can lead to suicidal thoughts. So you'll be doing yourself a lot of good by letting go of the past. It's good that you're not happy about your mistakes. Nevertheless, you need to move on. Shame. You can feel ashamed of yourself due to moral failure. For example, if you cheated on your partner, you might feel bad about that action for a long time, especially if that person broke up with you because of that. In the same way, you might feel ashamed if your personal sex clip was uploaded on social media. No one can deny that these situations will make you stigmatized for a while. Nonetheless, your story is not ended unless you decided to quit. It is noteworthy that no man can walk out of his own story. You have to end it somewhere, somehow. You can either choose to stand up and heal your wound or choose to be defined by your past mistakes. The truth is that there are people out there who are still willing to give you an opportunity to prove yourself. However, you will miss those opportunities when you keep thinking that you don't deserve to be loved and respected because of what you did in the past. Lack of focus. It is challenging to be focused when you are thinking about the past. You will struggle to make plans or set goals because you are still thinking about what could have been. This situation is common to people who were close to achieving something monumental, but it didn't work out eventually. So they feel that it is not likely they can get it right again. It's not true that you cannot achieve success again because things went south the last time. However, you need to be focused. Don't let a sour relationship make you a monster. Stop saying things like you can never love anyone like you loved your ex again. You're only reacting because you felt bad about the heartbreak. In the same way, you should not be lackadaisical in your attitude in your new job because your last boss treated you badly. You have a new opportunity to rewrite your story. Don't ruin it. Poor performance. You cannot be at your best when you're not emotionally stable. People going through heartbreaks often find it is difficult to perform at the same level they used to perform before the incident. When you allow the thoughts of your mistakes or a negative event in the past to keep coming at you, you will either be slow while executing a project or carry it out shabbily. Besides, you will not be present in the moment. You will just be doing things just to get by because you are emotionally disturbed. So the sooner you banish the memory of the past and focus on the present, the better for you. The demands of the modern world require that you are focused. If you are working with a ruthless boss, you'll be dismissed if you're not producing as expected. That will only make things worse for you. Low motivation. The importance of motivation cannot be overemphasized in any activity. You cannot perform at a high level when you're not inspired to work. When you refuse to move on and start over, you will not have the passion to give in your best. It can be disastrous when you are doing a job that requires meticulousness and attention to detail, like the medical profession. Your lack of focus and motivation can lead to a costly mistake that can ruin your career or put an indelible mark on it. It could also lead to litigations, which does not bode well for your reputation and brand image. So it is in your best interest to let go of the emotional entanglements and focus on the task at hand. Anxiety. Just like depression, anxiety is another psychological problem facing many people in the world. The advent of social media has made it the order of the day due to excessive exposure to traumatic events and insensitive comments. However, social media exposure is not the only source of anxiety in the world. You can also be anxious when you keep remembering your past mistakes. This anxiety can come especially when you're about to carry out a similar task. You might be scared that you will make mistakes again that will lead to another abject performance. Substance abuse. Many people, especially youths, turn to drugs and other substances like alcohol to relieve stress and anxiety. Depressed people also often abuse drugs and alcohol because they're trying to feel better. These substances might offer you short-term relief. However, they will take their toll on your physical and mental health in the long run. You can become addicted to them such that you will not be able to live a normal life unless you take alcohol. Once you get to that point, you are in trouble because you can become more violent and aggressive, which will affect your relationships. Physical illness. Whatever affects your mental health will eventually affect your physical health if you don't act fast. If you keep thinking about the past, you will become depressed. Meanwhile, when you're not in a good mood, you will develop poor eating habits and will not be motivated to work out. In the long run, you can fall sick due to your unhealthy practices. So you will not gain anything by being stuck in the past. The disadvantages and dangers of not starting over are more than the ones listed in this video course. These ones are highlighted so that you can realize that you have a lot to lose when you are stuck in the past. In this video, we'll discuss about why the past doesn't equal the future. You'll be stuck in the past when you think it has a vital role to play in your chances of future success. However, it is not true that you cannot thrive again because of your mistakes and past failures. The future promises a lot if only you are willing to let go of the past. This chapter examines why the past doesn't define the future of an individual. The past is a closed chapter. Treat your life like a book. Your experiences are previous chapters. The present moment is the chapter you are reading. In most cases, you don't go back to a chapter you've read. You only flip back to those pages when you have something you didn't get correctly. In some cases, you also flip back to that chapter when you find a similar concept in the current chapter. The implication of this is that you should only remember your past when you need to draw lessons from it. You will not make progress if you remain stuck in a chapter of a book and refuse to read on. In fact, you might find better explanations regarding a particular concept you find difficult to understand in the subsequent chapters. Life is like that. Sometimes you will not understand why some things happen the way they did until you forge ahead. For example, you might find out why your former boss treated you wrongly later. It could have been because of a jealous colleague. The person might have gone to lie about you to the boss, making the employer turn against you. You might still have an opportunity to take a better role in that organization if you choose to let go and focus on improving yourself. However, if you allow the situation to weigh you down, You might not be in the best position to be offered the role later. Don't worry too much about things you don't understand at the moment. They often become clearer over time. The future is a blank page. Remember that your life is like a story. Nothing is written in your future. However, you can start making concrete efforts to make your future more pleasant than your past through the decisions you make at the moment. One of the worst ways you can prepare for the future is to cling to the past. When you're not letting go of the past, you will not be able to see the future holds more opportunities for you. The rest of your life can be the best part of your life if you see it that way. The future is full of opportunities to rewrite your story and get things right. It is natural that you feel like hiding in your shell after a setback. You will not want to make mistakes again, and that can make you become more measured. There's nothing wrong with being careful. However, it is a problem when you have decided not to try again because you're afraid to fail. Your past isn't a determinant of your future. Rather, your past can act as a springboard for your future. If you have made a lot of good decisions in the past, you'll be more confident about handling some responsibilities in the future. Nonetheless, the fact that you've made mistakes does not mean you can make better decisions in the future. In fact, your mistakes make you more experienced. You now know what will work in some situations. The past is a shadow. The striking feature of a shadow is that it appears to be real, but it is not. It follows you wherever you go, but it doesn't contribute in any way to your life. The implication of this illustration is that you cannot deny your past. It will follow you for the rest of your life. You cannot banish the experience or the memories. However, you can decide what you will make of them. It would be ridiculous to be scared of your shadow or refuse to move forward because of a shadow. It's often funny in some situations when a child is so scared that he or she is running away from his or her shadow. You should also feel the same way if you're thinking that you cannot live a happy and fulfilled life because of your mistakes. Your past is just a shadow that lingers and casts darkness on some things around you. However, it does not determine what you can make out of your life. So, you'll be doing yourself a disservice if you refuse to move on from your past. That relationship is over. You've lost that job. Your best friend is dead. There's no doubt that these are situations that don't bring a good image whenever your mind drifts towards them. However, your future has more pleasant memories in store if you are willing to get over those disappointing memories of the past. The past doesn't define you. You should keep reminding yourself that your past doesn't define you. If you take your time to look at the people around you, you'll notice that there are those who've had setbacks but were able to turn their lives around. Even if you don't know someone like that, a simple internet search will help you in this regard. Besides, you'll still find some great examples in this video course. You can also have a great life worth celebrating, despite your challenges and disappointments. It doesn't matter whether you were the one that made mistakes or it was due to factors beyond your control. You can still get to the finish line and win your race. It's your race because it's your life, so you shouldn't be in an unhealthy competition with anyone. The reason some people are stuck in the past is that they feel that they've been left behind by their peers. This approach will only put unnecessary pressure on you. Learn to concentrate on yourself. If you become the best version of yourself, you'll eventually become better than many of your peers. However, you shouldn't focus on running a rat race. This is one of the issues people have when checking pictures of celebrities on social media. They see their friends who are now superstars, and they feel bad about their lives. You shouldn't compare yourself with other people. Indeed, there's nothing wrong with looking up to some people and learning from them. We all need people that can serve as inspirations to us and motivate us to achieve our goals. However, it is a problem when you start to feel worthless because you don't possess fancy cars and expensive gadgets. In this video, we'll discover about benefits of forging ahead. It's not likely that you'll commit to something when you are not sure about what you stand to gain by doing it. Forgetting about the past to start over has numerous benefits. This chapter will explore some of them to give you the impetus to start making changes that will give you a new lease of life. High self-esteem. Your self-esteem is a product of the way you see yourself. It will be low when you feel that you don't deserve to be loved and treasured. Note that you cannot separate self-esteem from self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is the level of confidence you have in your ability to succeed in a task before you attempt it. It is vital that you have high self-efficacy because it makes others trust you to handle their projects in their behalf. You need to earn the trust of people before you can be given the opportunity to prove yourself. Meanwhile, the only way you can convince them that you can do the job is when you have confidence in your ability to get the job done. Even when you have the qualifications for a job, you'll still be doubted when you sound unsure about your chance of success in the task. Note that you cannot have high self-esteem when you are still stuck in the past. It is when you are ready to move on from your past that you will fancy your chance of succeeding again. If you can rate yourself to succeed in something you have failed in doing before, it shows that you are ready to banish the demons of your past. Prevention of depression. We all want to be happy, but many people are sad in this world. One of the reasons we have many unhappy people in the world is that many have refused to move on from their past. They are still thinking about a previous partner that broke up with them or the loss of a loved one. You cannot change what has happened, so you need to forge ahead. Note that happiness is a choice. The world is not designed to make you happy. In fact, there are many circumstances in a typical day that can ruin your mood if you allow them. An adage says that you cannot stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can prevent it from building a nest in your hair. In other words, you don't have total control over the circumstances that will present themselves to you. However, you can decide how you will react to them. If you keep thinking about the past, you will only become depressed in the long run. However, when you choose to start over, you will generate positive energy from the optimism of forging ahead. Healthy relationships. No one wants to be around people who keep complaining about their past. Such people are often grumpy and can spread negative emotions. So don't be surprised that people are avoiding you when you have a culture of reminding them about your past. They might sympathize with you initially. Nonetheless, they will start avoiding you when they realize that it is something you do a lot. Besides, it can affect your new relationship when you keep talking about your previous partner. So you need to learn to let go of the past and focus on the present to build healthy relationships. Only talk about your past when you want a person to learn something from it so that he or she will not make the same mistake you made. It's better that you talk about your mistakes and previous experiences when people ask you to tell them. Avoid raising such issues when no one is asking about them. You can ruin your mood and that of others with that approach. Seek the help of an expert on time if you notice that you are struggling to let go. You might need therapy to finally get yourself on track again. Finish strong. People will not care about your past if you can turn your life around. People like Abraham Lincoln and Oprah Winfrey had rough starts in life, but they were able to succeed all the same. Therefore, you can still finish strong if only you will not give up on yourself. The feeling of knowing that you didn't allow your past to define you is satisfying. You will be proud of yourself and will want anyone who cares to listen that they can still succeed regardless of the challenges they are facing. Remember that your life is not over until you breathe your last breath. So take the time to reflect on why you failed and stand up on your feet again. The finish line is still far off. Dust yourself off and start running again. You can still be celebrated and become an icon like the celebrities you know today. If you read about some of the superstars you admire, you will realize that they have scars they have refused to be the summary of their lives. You can take out time to read some biographies to draw inspiration. When you let go of the past and start over, you will eventually finish strong. Have a testimony. We all like to read about people who didn't allow their setbacks and mistakes to define them. What about you? The ball is in your court now. Will you abandon your dreams because your efforts are not yielding the kind of results you want? What will you tell your children? They may not say anything, but they know that you are only making excuses. So you can choose to be an inspiration for the future generation if you don't give up now. Let people read your story years later and find reasons not to give up on their dream. Indeed, it is easier said than done. However, you should not see backing down and giving excuses as options you should take. The world does not celebrate or remember people who gave up. It doesn't matter what you are doing. There have been people that have been in such situations and they didn't give up. So you need to let go of the past and start all over. Someone will need it someday. Someone will be grateful that you refused to back down later. Don't disappoint them. Dust yourself up and start fighting again to rise to the top. In this video, we'll discover about how to bounce back from past failures. It is not good enough to know the benefits of starting over and banishing the past. You also have to know how to go about starting the new journey. Many people desire to let go of the past and focus on the present. However, many fail because they lack the skills and information to do it right. This chapter will empower you with the knowledge and skills you need to start this new journey. Treat the past as a lesson. According to psychologists, intelligence is the ability to learn from experience to make better decisions in the future. Therefore, whoever does not learn from the mistakes of the past cannot be referred to as an intelligent person. You should be able to draw out lessons from your experience to improve your decision-making. For example, if you have been in an abusive relationship before, you should remember those factors that made you surrender yourself to a dictator. If it was because you depended on him or her for sustenance, then you should not enter another relationship until you have a job. You need to empower yourself and be valuable by making your own money. In the same way, if it was because you had low self-esteem, you need to work on that before entering a new relationship. You should be learning from what has happened to you in the past to avoid making the same mistakes. Unfortunately, some people don't learn from their experience. Instead of learning, they react and make even worse decisions. For example, some people can decide to be harsh towards any opposite sex that comes around them to get revenge for what their ex did to them. That approach is ridiculous. You should not become cranky and grumpy because of the way someone treated you. Rather, you should pick the lessons from your experience and use them to make better decisions in the future. Surround yourself with positive people. There are people who will always remind you about your past with every opportunity they have. Such people shouldn't be in your circle of friends. They generate negative emotions because they want you to feel bad about yourself. They also act that way to remind you that they are better than you. It doesn't matter whether such people are members of your family. They don't deserve your association. Stay off them. Unfortunately, such insensitive people are not only physically present, they are also on social media. They will throw jibes at you just to have fun without caring how you feel. Even celebrities are not immune to such insensitive remarks. Some people have had to deactivate their social media accounts because they were targets of cyberbullying activities. If you find yourself in that kind of situation, you should stay off social media for a while. Stay more around people that will see you as a human being who can make a mistake. Such people will give you the chance to slowly mend your broken vessel and prepare to sail again. They will provide you with the emotional support you need to see the past as a lesson so that you can forge ahead. We all need such people in our lives. Moreover, you should also be that kind of person towards others. Sometimes the reason some people are quick to condemn us is that we have been quick to judge others in the past. Leverage your strengths. One of the best ways you can build your self-esteem, especially after it has been battered, is to stick with things that allow you to express your strength. There's a place for learning and acquiring skills to carry out a task successfully. However, you will make your journey smoother when you do those things that maximize your abilities and minimize your deficiencies. If we all learn to do the things we can do best, we will be lauded as celebrities in our own right. However, due to the pressure to make ends meet, many people are doing jobs that do not allow them to express their creativity. This limitation is often the case when working in a highly bureaucratic organization. The need to seek the permission of a superior before implementing an idea often make many people less productive than their capacity. Avoid being under the spotlight or immense pressure when starting over to avoid harsh criticism in case of a mistake. Don't hide or run away from responsibilities because of your setback. However, it will be better for you if you can start working your way up from an environment with less scrutiny. Use that period to build your confidence and trust in your ability again. It helps when you are with people who allow you to get back to your previous level without judging you during this phase. Receive more training. It is crucial that you admit when you know that you don't have what it takes to carry out a task. One of the reasons some people fail in a project is overconfidence. Low self-esteem is not good. However, overconfidence can also make you make mistakes that will be difficult to correct. So don't demand a role you know you don't have the skills to perform. Even when you are being offered such a position, you should be honest enough to turn it down unless you will be allowed to learn on the job. In the same way, some people get into the wrong romantic relationships because they are naive. Young people are fond of making such mistakes because they feel no one understands how they feel. They will not inform their parents about the relationship until something goes wrong. They could have impregnated themselves already before the parents are aware of what is going on. They will not inform their parents about the relationship until something goes wrong. You should be open to learning from more experienced people in every aspect of life. You will not make the mistakes older people have made in their relationships if you seek their counsel. Learn to ask the right questions from the right people. You don't have to invest and lose your money before you learn your lessons. There are always people that have invested in that sector before. Successful people are known for their willingness to learn from others. If you're going to turn your life around after a setback, you must be more open to learning. In this video, we'll talk about great people who had rough pasts. No matter how rough and terrible your past was, there have been people who have experienced similar or worse situations. So it is a good practice to read about such people so that you can be encouraged that there is still light at the end of the tunnel for you. In this chapter, we will examine some famous people who had disastrous and limiting pasts but still emerged as world beaters. Benjamin Graham. The first person on this list is the man known as the father of value investing. He's also popular for being the mentor of Warren Buffett. He was a great investor, professor, and author of 2 revolutionary financial books, Security Analysis and The Intelligent Investor. His books are used in universities today to teach students vital business principles that are still relevant in the modern world. According to Warren Buffett, his book, The Intelligent Investor, is one of the greatest investment books ever written. Buffett sees Graham as a benevolent and generous person for his willingness to share his business ideas with others. There is no doubt that Benjamin Graham was one of the greatest people to have lived on this planet. However, he didn't have it all good all the time. Life was cruel to him, but he recovered, and his story is an inspiration to many today. He lost his father early in life, and his family experienced poverty due to that. However, it never deterred him. He also lost a lot of money between 1929 and 1932. Nonetheless, he did not give up. He didn't give an excuse or tell himself that he was not wired for investment. Rather, he learned from his mistakes, and that was what led to the development of the principle of value investing. Oprah Winfrey. The famous self-made billionaire is also on this list by merit. She's often at the top of every Hollywood invitation list and is a success in her own right. However, life was not always this glamorous for her. She was born into poverty by teenage parents. Not long after she was born, she had to start living with her grandparents because her parents split up. She was raped by numerous members of her family at the tender age of 14. By the time she moved to live with her father, she discovered she was pregnant. She gave birth to a premature little boy who could not survive and died after 2 weeks. These events could have affected her and make her drop her head in shame and sadness. However, she chose to let go of her past and focus on her future. She concentrated on her studies and did not allow her past to get the best of her. Winfrey buckled down and got good grades in school. She eventually rose to the top because she chose to look on the bright side. She rewrote her story, and we are glad she did because her story has inspired many people today. Rihanna. Rihanna is one of the most successful hip-hop artists of all time. She has won 12 American Music Awards, 8 Grammy Awards, and 12 Billboard Music Awards. She is supremely talented and the favorite of many music enthusiasts around the world. She has performed at the highest level, and it is safe to say that many upcoming musicians will be glad to have a career as glamorous and decorated as Rihanna. Nevertheless, just like many people in the world, life was not always fair to her. Her father was abusive towards her mother when she was younger due to addiction to crack cocaine. Her parents eventually broke up. However, she remains close to her father and stated that he is one of the coolest guys she knows. She admits that he was a horrible husband but a good father. Her story shows that she chose to forgive her father for treating her mother wrongly. Besides, she didn't let her upbringing make her give excuses for not forging ahead to carve a good career for herself. She kept her focus, and she is a world beater because of that today. Abraham Lincoln. The story of one of the greatest presidents America ever had is so inspiring that it deserves to be told again and again. It is the story of a man who defied all the odds to succeed. It is also the story of a man who has thousands of reasons to give up because of past failures but found one to forge ahead. He kept starting all over again after a major setback. He built his own homeschool where he taught himself law by using the books given to him by his neighbors, stepmother, and teachers. His desire to keep learning and embracing new ideas made him the first president to use the telegraph. He was also a man that was known for keeping a sense of humor even during challenging periods. Moreover, his ability to weather the storm is the most remarkable part of his story. Lincoln lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elections. If anyone should have given up on his dream, it should have been this man. However, he kept starting over and the rest is history. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj has written her name in gold in the heart of many music lovers around the world with hits such as Super Bass and Fly. There is no doubt that she has the talent and presence that makes people look out for her in big events. Many people would like to have her success, but her background is quite nasty. She was raised by her grandparents because her parents traveled to the U.S. in search of a better life. However, she reunited with them in New York when she was 5. Not long after that, her father developed an addiction to crack cocaine that made him aggressive and violent towards her mother. According to her, she grew up with the constant fear that her father was going to kill her mother. Her father often threatened to kill her mother and almost succeeded. However, she escaped at the last minute. Despite all these heartbreaking incidents surrounding her upbringing, she was able to succeed in her career. Therefore, there is no reason why you should not make the best out of your life. Indeed, there will be mitigating factors. However, you have to rise above them. Eminem. Marshall Bruce Mathers III, also known as Eminem, is a popular rapper and actor who is renowned for his intensity and lyrical preeminence. Slim Shady, as he is often called, is a success and big name in the music industry in America and the world at large. However, just like every other person on this list, things had been rough for him in the early part of his life. Interestingly, he's not shy to talk about his challenging childhood. His father abandoned him as an infant, and he was raised by a single mother. His mother could barely take care of him because she did not have a stable job. Besides, they were often moving around and he had to change school 3 times. His mother was addicted to drugs and he has used his music to tell the world about her. Eminem sees music as that hiding and comfortable place for him where he can express his thoughts. It is therapy for him. Nonetheless, the world is listening, and he has become a superstar with his brand and style of music. The lesson you can learn from Eminem is that you should find something you love doing to banish the unpleasant memories of your past. In this video, we'll discover about overcoming negative self-talk. We cannot overemphasize the importance of your mind in your daily endeavors. Your mindset plays a crucial role in determining how far you can go in life. The state of your mind can make you do things that will limit your success in your daily activities. This chapter will examine how the voice of your mind can prevent you from moving on from your past and starting over. The monkey mind. The mind is a powerful force that remains active even when you are sleeping. It's because your mind is still active when your body shuts down that it is responsible for your dreams and nightmares. According to Buddha, the mind can act like a monkey jumping from one branch of a tree to the other. Those branches of trees in this context refer to thoughts about different things. However, you will become restless and emotionally bankrupt when you allow your mind to function this way. It's like an autopilot mode that can make your mind dwell on your past mistakes and some unfortunate events in your life. Therefore, you must rule over your mind by being in charge of it. The following tips can help you put your monkey mind in check. Know that you can tame it. You need to take more responsibility for your mind. You can tame your monkey mind, and you must never forget that. In fact, the first and most crucial step in stopping restlessness of the mind is to know and believe that you can stop yourself from wandering into negative self-talk. Don't keep quiet. There are times when you can counter destructive thoughts by switching to positive ones. It can be that simple sometimes. However, there are times that the thoughts will be so powerful that you will not be able to rule over them by just adjusting your mindset. You may have to speak up to bring tranquility to your mind again. For example, if you remember what someone said about you regarding your ability to excel, say something like, "I am not a failure." You will notice yourself calming down and your anxiety level will drop with this approach. Meditation and journaling. Meditation and journaling are two crucial practices that can help you keep your mind at peace. For example, in mantra meditation, you will be chanting a mantra that serves as an anchor point. Your mind will be stationed on the mantra rather than destructive thoughts such as your failures in the past. Moreover, journaling ensures that you'll be able to combat your thoughts because your mind is involved when you are writing. Besides, it ensures that you can trace the source of your negative emotions and counter them with logical thoughts. Your feelings can color your thinking regarding your current situation. Note that you can combine meditation and journaling. Your negative self-talk cannot survive this double impact. Self-fulfilling prophecies. Self-fulfilling prophecies are words spoken about the outcome of an event such that you will act in a particular way to make them come to pass. For example, you can say that you will not be hired before you go for an interview. You will now not be motivated and inspired to do your best to ensure that you are picked. You are just looking forward to being turned down so that you can tell whoever cares to listen that you have already said it before the company will not hire you. You cannot achieve anything significant in life if you do this consistently. It will prevent you from improving yourself. It can be due to your past failures. You have to let it go and be more optimistic. Some people call their practice of self-fulfilling prophecies as being realistic. Nonetheless, this is far from the truth. It is a practice that reduces your self-esteem and will make you perform below the expected standard. You will be more concerned about proving to yourself and others that you were right about your predictions of doom and gloom about your chances. You can never banish the demons from your past and start over with this approach. Victory over this destructive culture can be achieved through the following means. Work on your ineptitudes. If you know that you actually don't have what it takes to succeed in a task, get more training. Get help from people that are more experienced than you. You will eventually fulfill your prediction if you don't actively and deliberately work on your deficiencies. Trust more. You need to convince yourself that you have what it takes to succeed in a project, especially after doing your homework. Besides, you should learn to play to your strength. So if you know that you don't have the qualities to succeed in something, stay off until you have the skills necessary to succeed. Be around the right people. You're a product of the kind of influence you have in your life. So you cannot afford to underestimate the impact of your association on your life. One of the reasons some people are stuck in the past is that they have people who keep reminding them about their mistakes. Stay off such people and stay more around the people that will support you in the new journey. You need such people with positive energy to avoid working towards fulfilling your predicted doom. Self-sabotage behaviors. No one can stop you unless you stop yourself. Your past can only define you when you decide to allow it to affect you. Many people are stuck in the past and are never able to recover because of self-sabotage behaviors. A self-sabotage behavior is an action that prevents or limits your success despite your dreams, wishes, and values. These behaviors are often a product of negative emotions, negative self-talk, and low self-esteem. It can also be due to your past experiences, which affect your thinking pattern. You might produce self-sabotaging actions when you are trying to avoid things that are challenging or uncomfortable. An example of self-sabotaging behavior is working towards achieving a target only to ruin it because of a stupid mistake. It can also be in the form of feeling frustrated and discouraged when you are trying to achieve something monumental. This feeling erodes your self-confidence, and it can also affect your professional and interpersonal relationships. You can overcome self-sabotage behaviors by leveraging the tips below. Recognize the self-sabotage behaviors you have that have been affecting your progress. Identify the reason you have been acting that way. Set out time to think about your actions and how you can turn things around. Locate your positive inner voice and make it louder. Set goals and stick to the plan. In this video, we'll talk about making plans for a better future. One of the reasons people find it difficult to move on from the past and start over is that they have no plans for the future. They've put all their eggs in one basket and cannot imagine starting all over again. However, as earlier mentioned, life is a journey that presents you with another opportunity to rewrite your story. In this chapter, we will explore tips that can help you make concrete plans for the future and start building your life again. Build positive self-image. No one can respect and love you more than you respect and love yourself. Meanwhile, when you don't see yourself as a person who deserves to be treated with value by others, you will subject yourself to ridicule and other unpleasant situations. It can make you stay in an abusive relationship and work a job that does not allow you to reach your potential. You will live your life pleasing others and meeting their demands. Indeed, there's nothing wrong with pleasing people and meeting their needs. However, you must be able to make demands without feeling that you're asking for too much. For example, you should be able to tell your partner when you're not happy about the way he or she is treating you. Sometimes you'll never object even when you're not happy because you're afraid that that person might walk away from the relationship. If that's the case, you are in a relationship that will only strain you and make you regret your actions eventually. Don't let anyone make you feel like a second-class human being. It all begins by seeing yourself in a positive light. When you think about yourself, what do you see? Do you see a failure who should be at the mercy of others or a legend in the making? You need to build a positive image to recover from your past and start over. Build self-esteem. You need high self-esteem to have the confidence that is needed to forge ahead after a setback. Note that that is not automatic. There are some deliberate steps you need to take to build your self-esteem, especially after it has been shattered by a traumatic incident. The following tips will help you in that regard. Rate yourself. After a setback, it is natural that you start seeing yourself as a failure. However, you need to turn the table around as fast as possible. One of the ways you can rate yourself again is to remind yourself of the previous success you achieved in the past. Remember that no one is perfect. You made a mistake. So what? You're not the first person to make a mistake in the world, and you won't be the last. In fact, you will still make mistakes. You need to accept your imperfections as a human being and work on them. We all make mistakes. So motivate yourself and start all over again. Keep the ball moving. You cannot afford to be static in life. The best way to build your self-esteem is to get to work immediately after a setback. Of course, there's a place for thinking things through and analyzing why you failed the first time. However, don't dally too much. Once you realize your mistake, correct them and get to work again. Focus on what is changeable. Your self-esteem will remain battered when you keep thinking about things you cannot change. Focus on those areas you can improve and correct. When you keep complaining about things that are beyond you, you will be frustrated. Besides, you will not be confident in your ability to succeed because you feel too many factors are against you. Get involved in activities that make you happy. It is vital that you generate positive emotions, especially after experiencing an emotional setback. If you like sports, do more of that around that period. Set goals. Setting goals give your life a direction and a sense of purpose. You can't have a better future when you don't have goals you are working to achieve. When you have goals, you have drive. You are motivated to succeed, and that helps you take your mind off your past. Ensure that your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Any target that does not have those qualities is not realistic and bound to fail. Have long-term and short-term targets in every area of your life. Note that you should not set goals because you want to get back at others. Rather, set targets because you want to fulfill your potential. Practice journaling. According to Dr. John Grohol, CEO of Psych Central, mental disorders such as depression and anxieties can be treated with medication, counseling, and journaling. Journaling is becoming more popular in recent times because more people are beginning to realize its numerous benefits. Note that your journal should not contain stories of how people hurt you and disappointed you. Rather, you should leverage it to make plans and improve your performance. The following tips will help you to get the best out of your plan to keep a journal. Focus on where you are in your life right now and your future plans. Stay consistent with it by having a specific part of the day or day of the week you update the journal. Don't censor your thoughts for the first 5 minutes of writing to ensure you pour out how you are feeling at that moment. Be accountable to someone that can ensure that you are consistent with updating your journal. Practice meditation. Meditation is a practice that helps people to focus on the moment to live a happier and meaningful life. There are many forms of it. However, they all help to achieve calmness and focus. You need this practice to forgive yourself and be grateful for everything you have in your life. Many celebrities are taking advantage of meditation to boost their performance and improve their mental health. The following tips can help you to start and stay consistent with your meditation practice. Choose a type of meditation you can practice consistently. You may need to try different ones to know the best for you. Hire a guide or join a local class if you're struggling to practice effectively alone. Look for a place you can practice that is free from distractions. Start gradually with 5 minutes of practice and increase it as you get better. Celebrate every progress. The pressure and demands of life can make you forget how to be happy. However, you should learn to enjoy every bit of your life by celebrating the seemingly little success you have. This culture is particularly important when you are recovering from a major setback and trying to put your life together again. One of the things journaling and meditation should teach you is the practice of gratitude. A particular form of meditation called loving kindness meditation is very crucial in this regard. This form of practice emphasizes thinking about the people in your life and how important they are to you. It also involves forgiving yourself and others. Treat every progress in your new journey of starting over as essential. Treat yourself well for every week or month you keep your mind on the present instead of the past. The positive energy from this tradition will boost your morale and self-esteem in the long run. You deserve to be celebrated. Do it yourself if no one else is doing it yet. Indeed, life can be so cruel. Nothing is certain. We all wish to have things go smoothly for us, but it is never the case. Life gives us reasons to cry regardless of our social, economic, or financial status. Even rich, influential, and famous people experience situations that make them feel cursed. The unpredictable nature of life is the reason many people seek magic potions from magicians. However, no magic wand can solve your problems. You have to take more responsibility to make the best out of your life. One of the reasons we struggle to take the next step in life is because we are stuck in the past. We say so many things about the past that cannot change, making it challenging to let go of it. However, you have to move on because the future holds more than you realize. You've learned useful tips that can help you start over. The ball is in your court now. You can choose to leverage these hints to turn your life around or keep talking about the past. Remember that you will not gain anything from dwelling on the past. So do the needful. Start over.